Welcome to week 16 of NFL predictions. Last week I went 13-3, putting my current record at 158-66. And starting off this video, we got a good Thursday night football game between the Denver Broncos and the Los Angeles Chargers. The Broncos able to take care of business against the Colts last week, clinching their first winning record in 8 years. And the Chargers getting absolutely fucked over by the Buccaneers. They just fell flat in the second half of that game. And definitely not a good look for them. And, I mean, you could go either way with this game. You could realistically argue either team. The Broncos won 4 in a row. And they could clinch a playoff berth if they win this game. And the Chargers, they're kind of reeling right now, which means you're playing worse. But at the same time, they are at home. And I would argue that they're more healthy than the Broncos are right now. So it really just depends what you think. I'm going to go with the Chargers. It pains me to do this because I'm a Broncos fan, but I mean, we're going on the road. We've won 4 in a row. We, to be completely honest, should have lost to the Colts last week. I'm not trying to be pessimistic, but I'm just saying if Jonathan Taylor didn't fumble that touchdown, that surefire touchdown, we don't know if we win that game, to be real with you. So I'm going to pick the Chargers to win this one if they score of 21-20. All right, next up, we have our first Saturday game. We have the Texans taking on the Chiefs. The Texans able to take care of the Dolphins. That wasn't a clean victory, but a win's a win. And the Chiefs able to actually get one of their first double-digit wins for the first time in a while. So I guess good for them for having a convincing victory for once, even if it is the Cleveland Browns. And this is another game that could go either way. You've got two teams that have already clinched playoff spots. They've actually both clinched their respective divisions. And, both teams haven't been playing their best ball, but they're still winning games. And both these teams just need to prove something in the playoffs. And one of these teams, I think, will not have a problem with that. The Chiefs just know how to get it done when playoffs come around. Texans are still relatively young, so they're kind of a wild card when it comes to that. And I'm going to have to go with the Chiefs here just because they're at home. And, they just win games. I can't explain it. They haven't been playing good. And I could definitely see this game going either way, too. I mean, if you think the Texans are going to win, honestly, I don't blame you. Either way with this one as well. But the Chiefs win close games, and I'm going to have the Chiefs winning another close game, 20-18. All right, our other Saturday game, we have another really good game. We have the Steelers taking on the Ravens, which, oh boy, this is such a good rivalry. AFC North football is the best football. And, this is especially good because this game could arguably decide who wins the division. Because the Steelers, I believe if they win this game, they could clinch the division and obviously a playoff berth at that if they do. And the Ravens, they need to win, obviously, to make sure the Steelers don't clinch it. And if they win out, they should win the division. And obviously, this is a game they have to play to win that division. So, good game. This will be a really good game. Another game I could see going either way. This is why you love football, because there's just some of these games you genuinely can argue either way. Like, some games it's like you kind of already know, but like these first 3 games, like, you really don't. You could pick either team. You can pick any of those 6 teams. And I'm going to actually pick the Ravens. The Steelers usually have the Ravens number these past few years, but, with the TJ Watt injury and the uncertainty there, and, with how good Lamar Jackson is playing, despite the fact that the Steelers always give him problems, I'm going to pick the Ravens in a low-scoring game, 13-10. All right, starting off the Sunday slate, we have the Giants taking on the Falcons. The Giants getting blown out by the Ravens on last Sunday, and the Falcons on Monday able to win against the Raiders in a very ugly game from Kirk Cousins. And this is actually going to be Michael Penix's first start for the Falcons. He's the quarterback they drafted in the first round for some reason, even though they signed Kirk. He's going to get his first ever start in the NFL against the Giants. And, I mean, this is a good team to start him against. The Giants are fucking terrible, and the Falcons are trying to win the NFC South, which they still can. They just need to start playing better. And, I mean, so far they really haven't. I mean, they beat the Raiders, but the Raiders are trash, and the Falcons didn't even look that good in the process. And I do think the Falcons are going to win this game just because they are more talented and they have more to play for. The Giants, to be completely honest, probably are more focused on the draft at this point. So yeah, I got the Falcons winning this one 17-10. Next up, we have an NFC North matchup between the Lions and the Bears. Lions losing their second game of the year to the Bills in a very high-scoring game. Both teams put over 40 points, and the Bears losing their 8th consecutive game against the Vikings on Monday Night Football. So both teams trying to get back on track, and, I mean, especially the Lions, because they still are fighting for the number 1 seed, and, I mean, they had a game lead on it, but now the Eagles are tied with them, the Vikings are tied with them, so you know, they got a target on their back, so they really need to turn up the dial if they want to get that number 1 seed, which I think they will absolutely need if they want to win the Super Bowl because of how injured they are. Bears, I mean, they're not a good team. I do think this game will be competitive because division rivalry and because of how injured the Lions defense specifically is. So I still got the Lions. I got them winning this one with a score of 27-23. All right, next up we have the Cardinals taking on the Panthers. Cardinals able to snap a 3-game losing streak and beat the Patriots, and the Panthers continue their losing streak, losing to the Cowboys last week. And it was a tough loss for the Panthers because despite them being on a losing streak, Bryce Young has looked a lot better, but he came down to earth a little bit against the Cowboys, and he did not look good at all. And, I mean, the Cardinals, I mean, it's good that they won last week, but, I mean, they beat the Patriots. Beating the Patriots isn't exactly that difficult. I mean, I think 30 out of 32 NFL teams could do that, or I guess technically 29 of 31 because the Patriots can't play themselves. Anyway, I'm digressing. I do think the Cardinals will win this one because they're slightly more talented. Neither of these teams are very talented, but the Cardinals, they're just more gritty, and I like their head coach, Jonathan Gannon, a lot more than I like the Panthers head coach, Dave Canales. So Cardinals win this one 20-10. All right, we got some NFC versus AFC action here. We have the Rams taking on the Jets. The Rams able to beat the 49ers on Thursday Night Football last week, and the Jets able to win against the Jags last week in their first win since Halloween. They've been a very bad team, but it's always nice to get some wins. And unfortunately for the Jets, I mean, they're playing the Rams, and I do think the Rams can easily win this game because they need this win more than the Jets do because they're fighting for a division title, and the Jets, I mean, they're eliminated from the playoffs, so they don't have anything to play for except a better draft pick. And yeah, I got the Rams in this one. I don't think it'll be that good of a game. I could see Aaron Rodgers having a good game, but at the same time, every time he plays against a good team, he always plays horrible. I don't think he's that good anymore, and it's just showed this year. So I'm going to take the Rams in this one, 24-13. All right, we got some NFC East action here. We have the Eagles taking on the Commanders. You know these two teams know each other well. Eagles able to beat the Steelers last week pretty convincingly, and the Commanders able to beat the Saints more unconvincingly. And yeah, this one, I think it'll be really a game. The Eagles can clinch the NFC East with a win here. And the Commanders are the only team really putting up a fight for that division. Every other team in that division, the Cowboys and Giants sure as hell aren't winning it. And, these two teams always play each other well. The last game they played, the Commanders looked like they were going to win, and then the Eagles came back in the fourth quarter. We'll see what happens here. I think it'll be very high scoring because the Commanders' defense is really bad. And, the Commanders always seem to have do a good job putting up points against the Eagles, despite the fact that the Eagles' defense has actually been playing better. So my score prediction for this game, I got the Eagles winning 33-30. All right, next up we have another AFC North matchup, although this one's not as enticing. We have the Browns taking on the Bengals, the Browns losing to the Chiefs last week. And the Bengals able to beat the Titans last week, keeping their slim playoff hopes alive. And, the Bengals' defense is really bad, but at the same time, the Browns have not exactly had a consistent offense. With Jameis Winston playing quarterback, they had flashes of good offense, but he's actually not playing in this game. It's going to be Dorian Thompson-Robinson starting for the Browns in this game. If any of you even know who that is, he's super random, and he played a couple of games last season. I think he's a sophomore quarterback. Regardless of who the quarterback is, I still think the Bengals are a better team. And I think the thing about the Browns, though, is, I think with Jameis Winston, you have a chance to win this game, but they're not starting Jameis Winston. Without him, they don't stand a fucking chance. I got the Bengals winning this one 31-19. All right, another divisional matchup, this time the AFC South. We have the Titans taking on the Colts. Titans losing to the Bengals last week, and the Colts losing to the Broncos last week. And, Titans, they've been done for a while. Colts, they have a very, very slim chance to make the playoffs, but to be honest, their season was done when Jonathan Taylor fumbled in the end zone in their last game against the Broncos. And, I do think the Colts are going to win this game. I don't think it's going to matter too much because, they don't have tiebreaker over the Broncos, so that means the Chargers would, I believe, have to lose out, and the Colts would have to win out just for them to have a chance to make the playoffs. So it's tough for the Colts right now, but I do think they're going to win this game. I got them winning this one 24-10. All right, we got our first 4 o'clock game. We have the Vikings taking on the Seahawks. Vikings able to beat the Bears on Monday Night Football, and the Seahawks losing to the Packers on Sunday Night Football. And the issue with the Seahawks was Geno Smith got injured in that game, so I'm not entirely sure if he's going to play in this game. I think he will, because I don't think it was a serious injury, but he might be banged up. And, the Vikings, they definitely have a tendency to play in close games. Games that shouldn't be close or close with that team. I'm sure a lot of Vikings fans know all about that. And, I do think that will happen here to a degree. Because, the Seahawks, they can definitely put up a fight with anybody. They can't really, I wouldn't say they could beat anybody because they're not, I don't think they're that good, but they'll definitely give the Vikings some trouble, but I still think the Vikings will pull through. I think they've been playing better, so I got the Vikings winning 23-20. All right, next up we have, oh god, this game's going to be terrible. We got the Jags taking on the Raiders. Jags losing to the Jets last week, and the Raiders losing to the Falcons last week. You know, the motto with these two teams is they lose and they lose and they just keep losing. It's all weird because they both suck. And whoever wins loses because worst draft pick, because let's be real, these teams are already eliminated from the playoffs. So yeah, all fun and games. And I mean, this is a tough one. It really is, because I don't know. It's like, I guess I'm going to take the Jags here because the Raiders are worse, but I mean, it's close. I think the Jags will win in quotations, because winning doesn't do shit for either of these teams. Losing is better than winning at this current point in time. So I have the Jags winning this one 10-7. All right, we'll switch from comically bad to somewhat decent. We have the 49ers taking on the Dolphins. 49ers losing to the Rams on Thursday night, and the Dolphins losing to the Texans. And let's just say both these teams definitely have been underwhelming, to say the least. 49ers have just had so many injuries happen, and the Dolphins have had the whole Tua concussion situation that's just been a whole mess. And I mean, both these teams can technically still make the playoffs, but I don't think either team will. But for the people that do think that these teams can make the playoffs, they do have to win this game. So it's an important game for both teams. And I'm going to have to give the edge to the 49ers here, because the 49ers, they've got more talent on their team. I do think Brock Purdy is better than Tua. And the Dolphins just generally don't play well in December. It is in Miami, so that might not matter too much. But regardless, I'm going to take the 49ers to win this one 26-21. All right, our final 4 o'clock game, we have an AFC East matchup between the Patriots and the Bills. Patriots losing to the Cardinals last week, and the Bills able to beat the Lions last week, giving the Lions their first loss in over 3 months. Pretty impressive. And, I mean, you know, it's a division matchup, so I guess you never know. I mean, the Patriots could randomly, lose or win this game, I guess, but I mean, let's be real. We know who's winning this game. Bills win 34-17. All right, we got our Sunday night game. We have a team that will probably make the playoffs in the Bucs, and a team that delusionally probably thinks they'll still make the playoffs, even though they are very much on the verge of elimination with the Cowboys. Bucs able to crush the Chargers last week, and the Cowboys win against the Panthers last week. And I mean, I think the Bucs will win this one pretty easily. I do think the final score will be close, though, because it would be the most Cowboys thing to score a garbage time touchdown to make the score look respectable. But I mean, the Bucs, they're a better team. They've been playing better. I mean, just about every position outside of maybe number 1 wide receiver is better. So yeah, I have the Bucs winning this one with a score of 29-24. And ending this week, we have the Saints taking on the Packers. Saints giving the Commanders a little bit of a hard time. They still lost, but it was good to see some fight out of them. And the Packers able to handily beat the Seahawks. And, I mean, maybe the Saints could give the Packers a fight. You never really know. I mean, the Saints are one of those weird teams where I just don't know what version of them I'm going to get each week. Because sometimes they'll play up to competition and look really good, and then other times they'll look like complete dog shit and like either get blown out by good teams or barely win or lose against bad teams. They're a weird team. And I'm going to have to go with the Packers. They're more consistent. And Jordan Love's a lot better than whoever the Saints are going to be starting, whether it's Spencer Rattler or Jake Haener, whoever the hell it is. So yeah, I got the Packers winning this one 30-20. And that's going to do it for this video. Here's all the score predictions put together if you like. And I appreciate you watching this. I'll see you next time.